if his Makkos, if his sentence was passed without a Kohen Gadol, or if he killed a Kohen Gadol, or if a Kohen Gadol killed, he never leaves there. He may not leave there either for testimony related to a mitzvah, or testimony related to monetary cases, or for testimony related to capital cases. Even if Israel needs him, even if he's the general of the army of Israel, like Yoav, the son of Teruah, he may never leave there, as it is said, fled there. There shall be be his dwelling, there shall be his death, there shall be his burial. Just as the city affords refuge, so its boundaries affords refuge. If a murderer went out of the boundary and a Gol Adam encountered him, Rabbi Yossi Hagili says it is an obligation upon the Gol Adam to kill him, and it is an optional for anyone else. Rabbi Kiva says it is optional for the Gol Adam, and anyone else is not liable for him. If a tree was standing within the boundary and its branches extended over the boundaries, or it was standing beyond the boundary and its branches extended into the boundary, everything follows the branches. If he killed in that city, he is exiled from section to section, but Levi is exiled from city to city. Similarly, a murderer who went into exile in the city of refuge and the people of the city wish to honor him, he should say to them, I am a murderer. If they said to him, even so, he may accept the honor from them, as it is said, and this is the matter of the murderer. They would pay rent to the Levium. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says they would not pay them rent. He returns to the office he had previously occupied. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says he would not return to the office he had occupied. Gimel Aleph. Okay. These are the ones who incur the penalty of lashes. One who cohabitates with his sister, his father's sister, his mother's sister, his wife's sister, his brother's wife, his father's brother's wife, or with a menstruant. A widow to a Kohen Gadol, a divorcee, or kalusa to an ordinary Kohen. Mamzers, a Nissanite to a Yisrael is to a Nissanite or to a Mamzer. For a widow and a divorcee, one is liable for 2 negative commandments. For a divorcee and a kalusa, he is liable for but 1 negative commandment. Okay.
Okay. Hatame. So now we're going through the list of all the people who get lashed. Hatame she'achal kodesh. If a person was tame and he ate kodesh food, that is a negative commandment, and he gets lashed. Habar al mikdash tame. Somebody is, and similarly, somebody who is tame walks into the into the base of mikdash, also gets lashes. Ochel chaylev dam noser pigul tame. One who eats. So we're starting off this Mishnah, by the way. What the order of the Mishnah is talking about people who have a punishment of kares, but also get lashes. Okay, so that's all. Chaylev, blood, nosar, leftover from a sacrifice after the time. Pigul, sacrifice that was
leftover.
That was slaughtered with intention of leaving it over. Okay, tame, and if he eats food from if he eats kodesh that has become tame, also is he gets lashes for that. Shochet v'hamale b'chutz. If one shechts or offers a sacrifice outside the mikdash. Ochel chametz v'pesach. Okay. V'ochel v'oseh melacha b'yom kippur, or one who eats or does melacha on Yom Kippur. V'fatim es hashemen, one who compounds the shemen hamishcha for his personal use. V'fatim es haktoris, who makes the incense for his personal use. V'asach b'shemen hamishcha, one who anoints himself with shemen hamishcha. Okay, so now that ends the list of all of the kares offenses, and now we're moving on to stam lavin. Ochel nevela trefas, anyone who eats nevela, trefa, shkatim, meramasim, the creepy crawly things. Achel tevel l'maserishan shalonit trumaso, or if he ate things that have been unmasered, or maserishon that hasn't had the trumas maser taken from it. Maser sheni v'hekte shaloniftu. He ate things that were not maser sheni that not in Yerushalayim, obviously, or hekdesh that hadn't been redeemed. Kama yochal minat tevel v'hechayim. Okay, so now comes an interesting focus is what the minimum shiur of tevel, in other words, untithed produce, that a person has to be chayav for. Now you would think automatically, of course, it kazayas, but no. Rabbi Shimon says kol shiur chayav much. Chachami omrim kazayas. Okay, into the debate. Amar lehem Rabbi Shimon, ein atem modim li be'ochel nemala kol shehu chayav. He says Rabbi Shimon, we've had this debate. if you eat an ant, if a person eats a whole ant, he's chayav. Why? Because it's what's called a bria. A bria. It is created whole, and when a person eats the entire thing, it's that itself is the issur. You don't need a kazayat mimenu.
Does it matter if it's covered chocolate with?
I'm sorry.
Does it matter if it's covered with chocolate? Yeah.
Amrulo mipnei shehu kibriyasa. So the Chachamim said, but that's the reason for an amala is because that it was created whole. And Shimon says, well, yeah, a single grain of wheat was created whole like that. So therefore, you should also be chayav on that for eating that as table. The Chachamim say, no, this is the bria is restricted to the animal kingdom, where it's they say they use the expression that it's got a neshama. Whereas the wheat doesn't have it's tzomeach, it grows, but it's not a living, moving, whatever kind of thing. So they draw the line between the plant and the animal kingdom.
I heard you say, unless I heard wrong, you said in English, do you not concur with me concerning one who eats an ant of any size? And you said wheat, I think.
Wheat.
I thought you said wheat, but maybe I.
An ant. So Rabbi Shimon is trying to bring his proof from the ant.
Right. But I thought you said something else. I didn't hear the word ant.
Oh no, it was. Sorry. Okay, if I said it wrong, with the wrong accent.
Right. Wrong accent. Do you have an accent? Okay.
No, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Mishna Gimel. So Bikurim, there's a once the Bikurim have been designated, it's also to eat them until he's brought them to Yerushalayim, give them and recited the whole thing, and nobody's allowed to eat that until then. It's allowed to eat them, so that it also gets Makkos. Kodshe kodshim chutzlaklaim. If somebody eats kodshe kodshim outside the azara, okay. Kodshem kalim u'maseh chutz lechoma. Or if he eats any other things like shlamim or maseh sheni outside of Yerushalayim. One who breaks a bone in the Korban Pesach when the Korban Pesach is brought in Tahara. Remember, the Korban Pesach can also be brought in Tumah, right, if the majority of Israel is Tameh, as we are today. All of these cases get 40 lashes. But one who leaves over, there's an issur on a Korban Pesach to leave any of it over. It has to be finished.
Right.
Okay?
That's what I was
But if somebody actively leaves it over and says, I don't care, I'm leaving it, he doesn't get lashes. Why? Two reasons why he doesn't get lashes for it. One is it's a lav hanitak la'aseh. The pasuk says, "Lo tasir mimeni ad boker, va'anosa mimenu ad boker b'eish tisar." I'm saying it wrong. Let me just say, "Va'anosa mimenu ad boker b'eish tisrofu." So since there's a positive commandment of what to do in the event that somebody actually does leave it over, then it must be then there are no lashes for the original love. And similarly with gazela, if somebody steals something, you don't get lashed for stealing. Why? Because there's a positive commandment is to return the gazela. So instead of being lashed, let him just return what was stolen. So similarly with the nosar, instead of being lashed, let him burn the nosar. And we'll see another case with the shiloach hakein in the next Mishnah. But there's a second reason why you don't get lashed for leaving over from a Korban Pesach, is because it's a lav she'en bo maaseh. There's no action. There's no action, then there are no lashes. So if he committed a lav passively, then there are no lashes. Okay. Similarly, hashover b'tameh eno lokev arba'im. And similarly, one who breaks the bone of a Korban Pesach that was brought with tumah, there's no it's also to do it, but there are no lashes. Wait, hang on, is it no? Is it actually even to do it?
Does not incur the penalty of 40 lashes.
Yeah, right. So there may not even be an issur it might actually be mutar in a Pesach Tameh. Or certainly is midoraisa. Maybe the Rabbanan you wouldn't be allowed to break the bone of a Pesach Tameh. I don't know. That would be speculation. If I were Rabbanan, I would make it asur just in case, just so people should know that you don't do that. Anyway, Mishna Dalet Hanotel Aim Alabanim, talking about Shiloh Haken. So instead of chasing away the mother bird, he takes the mother bird. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda mer loke ve'ena meshalech. Okay, says Rabbi Yehuda, he's already done the isra. There's no benefit in letting him send the mother bird away. And if there were Adim and Hasra, then he gets lashes. Chachamim mer meshalech ve'ena loke. No, it's also a lav hanitzak la'aseh. It says shalech tishalach yisayim. So even if he didn't do it at first, he can still send her away. Zaklal. General rule about all these mitzvahs. Kol mitzvahs los haseh she'yesh ba'kum aseh en chayvin aleha. So and that was what I just explained a minute ago, is that anytime you have a negative mitzvah that can be fixed with a positive mitzvah, then there aren't any lashes on it. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, let's go. Chazara.
Sanhedrin.
Yud Aleph Beis.
A sage who rebels against the word of the court, as it is stated, if there shall be a rising matter too difficult for you to judge, there were three courts. Three courts there. One sat at the entrance of the Temple Mount, one sat at the entrance of the courtyard, and one sat in the chamber of hewn stone. They come to the one at the entrance of the Temple Mount, where he says, "Thus I have expounded, and thus my colleagues have expounded. Thus I have taught, and thus my colleagues have taught. If they have heard, they tell me. If not, they come to those at the entrance of the courtyard, where he says, 'Thus I have expounded, and thus my colleagues have taught.' If they have heard, they tell them. If not, they all come at one. They all come to the high court in the chamber of the hewn stone, from where Torah goes forth to all Israel. As it is stated, from that place that Hashem shall choose. If he return to his town and continue to teach in the same manner as before, he is exempt. But if he ruled that it be done, he is liable. As it is stated, but the man who will act willfully, he is not liable until the rules that it be done. A disciple who ruled that it be done is exempt. Thus his stringency is his leniency. There is a greater stringency attached to the words of the scribes than to the words of the Torah. If one says there is no mitzvah of tefillin in order to transgress the words of the Torah, he is exempt. If he says there are 5 compartments of tefillin to add to the words of the scribes, he is liable. Okay.
One more.
They do not execute him in the court of this town, nor in the court of Yavna. And rather they bring him to the high court in Jerusalem and guard him until the festival and execute him during the festival, as it is stated. And the entire nation shall hear and shall fear, and they shall no longer be sin willfully. These are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yehuda says they do not delay this person's judgment. Rather, they execute him immediately and write and send messengers to all places saying, so-and-so is sentenced to death by this court.
Okay.
We're going to finish this, and we're going to go after
Sanhedrin goes to Makkos.
Makkos?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go back to Makkos. Okay. The daughters of you know this word for me. So I know. Took three shares of the inheritance, the share of their father who was among those who left Egypt, and the share among his brothers in the state of Hefer. And that which being a firstborn, he takes 2 portions. But both the son and the daughter have the same laws concerning the inheritance, except that the son takes a double share of the father's estate, but does not take a double share of the mother's estate. And the daughters are supported by the father's estate, but they are not supported from the mother's estate. And one who says, that man, my firstborn son, shall not take a double share, or that man, my son, shall not inherit with his brothers, has not said anything, because it was stipulated contrary to what is written in the Torah. One who apportions his estate to his sons orally, increasing the share of one and decreasing the share of one, or making the firstborn equal to them, his words are upheld. But if he said that it would be by inheritance, he has not said anything. If he wrote, whether in the beginning, in the middle, or the end, that it was to be a gift, his words are upheld. One who says that man shall inherit me in a case in which there is a daughter, or the daughter shall inherit me in a case where there is a son, he has not said anything, because he has stipulated contrary to what is written in the Torah. Rabbi Yochanan ben Brocha says, if he said this about one who is eligible for inheritance, his words are upheld, and about one who is not eligible, the inheritance, his words are not upheld. One who signs over his property to another and set aside his sons, what did he do? what he did is done. What he did is done, but the sages are not pleased with him. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, if his sons do not conduct themselves properly, he is remembered for good.
Yeah.
And conclusion. Okay. Base good. If one betroths with trumos, with tithes, with gifts, and with the waters of purification, or with the ashes of purification, she is betrothed, even to a non-Kohen. If one says to another, go and betroth so and so to me, and he went and betrothed her to himself, she is betrothed. Similarly, if one says to a woman, you are betrothed to me after 30 days, and another came and betrothed her within 30 days, she is betrothed to the second. The daughter of a Kohen betrothed to a non-Kohen may eat truma. If he said, from now after 30 days, and another came and betrothed her within 30 days, she is betrothed and not betrothed. The daughters of a non-Kohen to a Kohen, or the daughter of a Kohen to a non-Kohen may not eat truma. If one says to a woman, you are betrothed to me on condition that I will give you 200 zuz, but she is betrothed, then he gives it. On condition that I will give it to you, on condition that I will give it to you from now until 30 days. If he gave it to her within 30 days, he is betrothed. If not, she is not betrothed. If he says on condition that I have 200 zuz, she is betrothed, but either that he has it. On condition that I will show you 200 zuz, she is betrothed, provided he shows it to her. If he showed it to her on the table, she is not betrothed.
In other words, it's got to belong to him, even though that's not explicitly stated, but that's the assumed condition.
We may not split wood neither from beams nor from a beam which is broken on the Yom Tov. Normally we split with an axe, a saw, or a sickle with a copets. If a room is full of produce that was sealed but is broken into, one may take from the place where the room is broken into, and Rav Meir says one may even break in it initially and take. We may not hollow or add a lamp because one thereby makes a vessel. Nor we make charcoal on Yom Tov, nor may we cut a wick in two. Rav Yehuda says one may cut it with a flame for 2 lamps. We may break a shard. No, we may not break a shard nor cut a piece of paper to roast salted fish on it. Nor may we break out an oven or a double stove. But he may level it. Nor may we position 2 barrels near each other in order to set a pot upon them. Nor may we support a pot, right? Support a pot.
Go on.
Nor we support a pot with a piece of wood, and the same applies to a door. We may not drive an animal with a stick on Yom Tov, but Reb Elazar ben Shimon says yes.
Yes. Okay.
We are up to Peah. Daled base. In the case of suspended vines and the palm trees, it is not so. Even if 99 say that it's not, and one says to distribute, this one they heed, for he spoke according to the law. If a person took part of the pay and cast it on the rest, he has nothing of it. If it fell upon it or spread his cloak over it, they remove it from him, and the same applies to gleanings and the forgotten sheaf. Peah they do not reap with sickles, nor they do not uproot it with spades. Lest they strike another.
Okay.
And
Kinim, most complicated one that we have to rush through. Okay.
Aleph Dalet. What is the case of the 2 groups of offerings being brought? One for one type of obligation. If this first group of offerings were brought for one incident of a woman giving birth, and the other group of groups were also brought for incidents of giving birth, or if the first group of offerings were brought for one occurrence of ziva, and the other group of groups were also brought for occurrence of ziva, these are the cases of both groups being brought for one type of obligation. And what is the case of the 2 groups of offerings may be brought for 2 different types of obligations? If one group was brought for a birth and the other group was brought for the occurrence of ziva. What is the case of the 2 groups of offerings being brought from 2 women? If the 2 groups of birds were brought to atone for this woman upon giving birth, and to atone for that woman upon giving birth, or if the 2 groups of birds were brought to atone for this woman for an occurrence of ziva, and to atone for that woman for an occurrence of ziva, these are the cases of groups belonging to both women being brought for one type of obligation. And what is the case of the groups of offerings with 2 women who were being brought for 2 different types of obligations? If one group of offerings were brought to atone to this woman upon giving birth, and the other group of offerings were brought to atone, and for that woman upon occurrence of ziva. Rabbi Yossi says 2 women who were obligated to bring birth offerings, who took their pairs of birds and offerings mixed together without designating which particular birds would belong to which woman, or if they together gave the purchase money for the pair of birds to the Kohen who sells these birds without designating which money belongs to whom, the Kohen may offer whichever birds he wishes as a katos, and he may offer whichever birds he wishes as an ola, whether they are both brought for the same type of obligation or whether they are each brought for two different types of obligations. An underside pair from which one bird flew away to the open air of the world, or flew to among bird offerings which must be left to die, or if one of them died, he must take a partner for the second bird. It flew to among other birds which are fit for offering. If it is unfit, and it is unfit, and it renders unfit one bird, corresponding to itself, or a bird which flies out of the pair, and unto other birds which is unfit, it renders unfit bird one bird corresponding to itself. How is this? If one were two women, this one having two pairs of obligation bird offerings, and this one having two pairs of such offerings, and a bird flew from this one to that one, and it rendered one bird offering unfit when it leaves, if it returned to the original group, and it validates one bird offering when it returns. If it flew again from the first group into the second, and then it returned again from the second group into the first, then again it flew from the first group into the second, and then it returned again from the second group into the first, nothing more is lost, because even if they are often mingled, no less than two pairs are fit to be offered.
Okay. Basically, just to remind you of the mechanism over here is that we can't if we can only offer things if there's a possibility that this is the right person and the right offering, but once a bird from a certain pair has been offered as a khatas, its partner automatically becomes an ola.
Right.
So the first one is like discretionary, and then the second one automatically gets designated. So you've got to so if it's like if you've got two women with each with two offerings, then the first bird that gets offered up, if it comes from the one woman, then automatically connected to her, connected that one, you've got a khatas, let's say, that has to be offered. Okay, so you can offer another bird as a khatas,
Right.
but let's say that bird actually belonged to the other woman.
So then,
now there's another bird in there somewhere that's got to be an ola. So it works out that 50-50, you can be sure, as long as if she's got, let's just look at the one woman with four birds.
right.
As soon as one gets offered, somewhere in there, one of those four birds has got to be a khatas, if that's started as an ola. Okay, but we don't know which one. But as soon as you take another bird and also offer that as an ola, then the remaining two ones are automatically khatas, and nothing else.
Automatically khatas?
Automatically a khatas. So the other two are automatically khatas. So you can't offer anything else as an ola, because you might be taking one of the khatas birds and putting it.
Right.
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so that's it for today, and I'm out of here.
See you on Sunday. Okay.
Have a good Shabbos.